what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it. So let's go over this class a little bit, Jake. Again, so you finish ranked. You finish in the top 10, which was the main goal.
Yeah.
We said that. Like, as long as you are keeping up with the Joneses on a macro level, you're going to set yourself up for great success. In terms of so here's a few different ways to break it down. Defensively, you bring in 14 recruits, 4 at linebacker, 4 at defensive tackle. Love that, right? In the trenches, and that's what we're talking about on the offense as well. You bring in 3 safeties. Love that. That's a group that we definitely have an eye on where you need to improve. You bring in 2 corners and 2 very good corners. I mean, the literal number 1 corner in the entire country in DJ Pickett and a guy in Aiden Andy. And that if we know anything about the top corners coming out of high school in Louisiana, they tend to be incredible. And you bring in 1 edge guy in Damian Shanklin, the top player out of Indiana. Offensively, it's 9 recruits, 4 offensive linemen. And Jake, this might be from a ranking standpoint. I mean, this might be the best O-line recruiting class I've seen. I mean, which one would be close here? You have the number 1 O-lineman in Mississippi, the number 1 O-lineman in Arkansas. You got a 5-star in Solomon Thomas. And then you got Bordelon and Newman. Like, this is a very good offensive line class. Brad Davis did a hell of a job. So 9 offensive players, 4 O-linemen, 2 running backs, 2 very good ones there. Obviously headlined by Harlan Berry, but JT Lindsay also a top 300 guy.
Top 150 guy.
Top 150 guy, yeah. 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end. By state, you bring in 10 Louisiana kids, 3 Texas, 3 Georgia, 3 Florida, 1 Tennessee, 1 Indiana, 1 Arkansas, and 1 Mississippi. That's kind of the LSU way, right? Mainly Louisiana there, and then dipping into the SEC where the opportunity kind of presents itself. 3 5-stars, 17 4-stars, 3 3-stars. Number 1 player in the state of Louisiana with Harlan Berry, the consensus number 1 player, not just number 1 O-lineman, and Carius Kern out of Arkansas, who Brian Kelly was raving about yesterday. Like, basically told you, we'll talk about who we think is going to have an impact immediately. Brian Kelly told you he thinks Carius Kern's going to have an impact immediately.
Yeah.
DJ Pickett is a consensus number 1 player out of Florida. And then Indiana, ESPN has Damian Shanklin as the number 1 player out of Indiana. So as you can see, also CJ Jim Coley coming out of Tennessee. That's a top 5 player for that state. 3 of the top 5 here in Louisiana, and then Tyler Miller at all. So look, again, a very, very good class, well distributed in terms of position, where you kind of put your thumb on the scale, and very highly rated, very good players that you are bringing in. So I say mission accomplished. A, you're gonna go A-, whatever. Top 10 in the country means an A. I think the entire staff, top to bottom, know how just absolutely insane this game is. How many the amount of people that go into making this class, Jake.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we've seen what official visits are like nowadays. The interns, the photographers, everybody. And I hope you enjoy some well-deserved kind of R&R today. At least maybe allow yourself to pat yourself on the back for a day or two, because this was a very good job.
Yeah, you got a lot of things done that you wanted to get done, and we'll get to Stewart maybe a little bit later on and what the reports are that USC was giving him. There was never a scenario that you were going to get to that number. You should not have gotten to that number.
Oh, what is USC giving him?
Well, Matt reported that it was $2 million.
Oh, damn.
So think about that number. Think about knowing what we know.
Good on you, bro.
That would be 4 times what the highest paid player on your team made a year ago. That was a number that, like, you were only really going to get up to with Bryce Underwood. And you gave it to, look, he might end up being a fantastic player. He might end up being John Randall on the defensive line. I don't know. But, like, that's a big number for a guy who's played 1 year of high school football. And, look, I ain't mad at him. Good for him. He can go, if he can go get that, he did.
Yeah. I think we'd all take that.
I would, like, but also you have to appreciate that you didn't get up to that number. When you start talking about resources and, divvying up what you have.
Yeah,
it's a big number.
You gave what you could. I mean, LSU's offer would.
Matt said he got
like
up to 1.25.
Oh, he got up to 1.2. Wow. I knew when you heard it was right under $1 million. I figured he got up to $1 million. I mean, yeah. Look, so that's maybe one of the things that I disagree with Coach Kelly about yesterday is he was kind of lamenting the fact that some of the offers on these players aren't market value. That they're just their value is higher to another team, because that team is deficient in areas. And so, he represents more to them than he would to you, so they offer more. My deal is isn't that kind of the definition? I mean, that is market value. That's just showing you that, hey, yeah, look, your value is whatever somebody's willing to pay you. So, LSU, I think it's smart not to go $2 million there with your resources that you have, obviously. But good on Jakeem, man. That's awesome. Life-changing money for the young man and his family.
Yeah, because, I mean, not just with the signing class, but you're about to have players that you're going to have to certainly give more than they made a year ago to retain their services, be it from entering the transfer portal or going to the NFL draft. And so, yeah, looks like he could be a really good football player. Good on him for going out to USC and getting a number like that. But also, I'm, I shouldn't say happy, but never wanted LSU to get up to $2 million for a singular player that's not playing the quarterback position. Or,
it's gonna be tough.
Maybe like a receiver, edge defender, left tackle, something like that. So either way, so you don't get that player. But the Solomon Thomas flip, that's big news. I mean, that's the number 2 player at his position. That's it's top 35 player. It's the number 4 player in the state of Florida, which, I mean, that goes a long way. You're not the 4th player in, Vermont. You're the 4th player in Florida.
I mean, you
so
took
that means
1
you're elite.
and 4 out of Florida.
Yeah.
Take a bow, Brad Davis and Corey Raymond, because that's, I mean, you want to talk about a spec ops mission behind enemy lines, going in, raiding their pantry, and then getting out alive unscathed. That is hard to do. It's not many years in which LSU's going to go take the number 1, number 4 player out of the panhandle there, out of Florida.
You're right about that, and it was 2 positions certainly of need, and I think getting DJ Pickett to sign with this class was the biggest get of everything that you could maybe get yesterday and you had available to you, because you weren't sure, and some of the news wasn't going your way, and you have a top corner who flipped from Texas to you, then flips back to Texas. So to secure DJ Pickett was the biggest win, I think, for LSU on the day, because that's a player that I feel like immediately, and we talked about it yesterday, is going to potentially be like a starter, not just like a nice little rotational piece, but he can be like a Will Campbell from day one. When he gets on campus, he's the starter.
Yeah. That's definitely okay. On the way out here, even though I want to talk about kind of who he thinks is going to have the biggest impact, kind of what Jake's getting at there. Real quick, Alondra, give me Kelly 13. This is on Carius Kern, offensive lineman out of Arkansas, number 1 player in Arkansas. Speaking of guys that can play immediately.
Physically imposing, 6'4", 330 pounds. One of the stronger offensive linemen that I've recruited in some time. He is physically strong at the point of attack. He dominates his opponents. If you just turn on his film, he absolutely dominates his opponent. He is physically ready to play in the SEC right now. We'll have to see how the other things come together, but he is physically ready to play. He's a special player.
There you go. I mean, Jake, telling you right now, I mean, Brian Kelly not really hiding it.
No.
He thinks him and Brad Davis think Carius Kern go in there and play immediately. And this class, to me, does also represent the continued kind of rise of the LSU offensive line. And I know you're frustrated with this year's group in some ways, and I understand why, and so am I. But, I mean, like we said, this is still the best pass blocking group. This is a position that was in kind of shambles a few years ago, and now with this class, what you already have on campus, Brad Davis really seems to be doing a good job. And that's kind of been something that Kelly's been good at, no matter where he's been at, has been putting together solid offensive lines. So, wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.